everybody to the L-5 podcast. Tonight, we are going to discuss the new feature film that came out, Wonder Woman 1984, starring Gadot, Chris Pine, and Pedro Pascal, and Kristen Wiig.
Needs you. You know what you need to do.
We had the opportunity to actually go and see this film this past weekend in the movie theater.
What?
Yeah.
What year is it?
It's 1984, Brian.
Oh, movie theaters were pretty safe back then.
Yeah, movies are still safe. No.
It only cost $2.
I wish. No, we had the opportunity to rent a private screening and actually go see Wonder Woman 1984 in the theater with some close friends. So we are here today. Yes, we are here today to discuss our full review, spoiler review of Wonder Woman.
Warning, 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 warning.
If you haven't seen it, go on HBO Max and check it out. Or go to your local theater and check it out at a private screening, or go early in the morning. If you want to check out and see what our experience was like in the private screening, go to our link for Our Lives Traveled and you can see our vlog of what that whole thing was about. But today, we're going to get into Wonder Woman 1984. So who wants to kick off the discussion tonight?
Well, I want to just say this. So, one thing about Gal Gadot that I really, really love about her is she seems like she is like the girl next door. Like she in this movie and in real life and all the time is amazingly beautiful. I think she's gorgeous. But there is something about her, and obviously I don't know her personally, but there is something about her and she feels like she would be such a down-to-earth person. And I think that is a trait of Wonder Woman. So I think that part of her that I believe is real, I also think is a trait that we have with Wonder Woman. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there before I tell you how I feel about this movie.
You dressed the part and everything. Look at you.
Oh, yes.
Oh, this whole thing?
I wouldn't know that you were secretly Wonder Woman.
So I'll just go ahead and say that this movie to me was a letdown. And I did not particularly enjoy it. As a matter of fact, at one point during the theater, I was hoping it would just go ahead and end. So it wasn't a visual issue. It was really a storyline problem. And what I basically have said before and what I'll say again is that I feel like they tried to cram too much stuff into this movie. So one of the things you'll see in the movie, and again, we're talking spoilers, is you see not only Wonder Woman use her invisible skills, which I'll come back to in a minute, on her plane, but she also learns how to fly. All of this jammed up into one. I feel like I needed more time for this, right? Because when she learns how to fly, or when you learn how to use these skills you've never really used before, they take time to master. God or not, they take time to master. You've never done this before. You didn't even know you could do it. It just, I don't know. It just, to me, seemed like it was all thrown together. The relationship with Chris Pine, he just seemed like he was there for no real reason. I mean, I like Chris Pine as an actor, but I didn't think they needed to bring him back. My absolute favorite part of the movie was probably the first, 15, 20 minutes where we see Diana as a child, and she is going through kind of like a gladiator type of event that we could talk about a little bit more. But I actually enjoyed that part of the movie. I enjoyed seeing her as a little girl and having to get some real world wisdom imparted into her. But from then on, I was just kind of like, what is this? It was, I mean, I was laughing in theater, y'all. And since there were only 12 of us, I'm sure people knew it was me.
I'll agree with you on that last part about the opening scene was the best part of the film. It's funny because we got some of that with the first film, right? And so with the little girl, with her as a little child, as a child, the actress who was playing her was really, really talented and very charming. And so I liked that they brought her back for this film. The problem is that whole scene had the tone from the first one, and you don't get that tone back at all for the rest of the film. It was like, I thought we were going in one direction, and as soon as we come out of that into the 1980s, we're put into a completely different direction, and I didn't know where we were going with it. I didn't know what we were going to get, from that aspect. It was very campy, cheesy, over the top, cartoonish Wonder Woman. And I was like, are they trying to go for the 1970s TV show feel? Are they trying to go with the 1978 Superman feel? Like, where are we going? Where are we going with this? And that pulled me away.
And you can have that feel without it being campy. I think about Stranger Things. We've got that whole decade thing going on, right? It doesn't feel campy at all. You know, they even have the mall scenes. It didn't feel campy at all. So, I don't think that's necessary. Now, can somebody tell me, because I really don't know, and this just may be because, I don't follow the comic books, but what is the significance of 1984?
That's a good question.
Comic book wise, I don't know. But I think that one of the things that was really strong about the first Wonder Woman movie was that it was set World War I, something huge, a huge global event, worldwide drama that everybody instantly recognized.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if the goal of this story being set in 84 was to really get back into the time period where people were really still absolutely on edge and terrified about nuclear war.
Mm.
And that the whole first, like, 5/6 of the movie, almost the whole movie, was getting up to that point, so that you could be right there at the tip of the Cold War.
Mm-hmm.
But people don't feel that anymore. I mean, my kid did not get it, did not get the terror and the drama of that. And I just barely did, because I was just like, what is the drama here?
Mm-hmm.
Why does anybody care about this time period right now? And then after it, I didn't even recognize the president of the United States. They didn't even call him by name. They called it, in the credits, they called him POTUS.
Mm-hmm.
He had the jelly beans.
It was Reagan, because that's who he looked like. Maybe he was.
Vaguely. I mean, and I was reading, they even intentionally didn't name him. And they intentionally made his hair lighter, and they intentionally also didn't put Nancy in there, just so that it wouldn't be absolutely Reagan. But you just didn't have the drama of it that you had with World War I. And you're right. I don't think Chris Pine was necessary. Kristen Wiig's character wasn't necessary. I was more afraid of Kristen Wiig's character going into it.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, I didn't mind her character so much. It wasn't necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And the other parallel to the first movie was the mythology of Diana's Island, and the first bad guy was the
Ares.
Ares, right?
Mm-hmm.
This artifact just is stolen just from the wrong place at the right time. She just happens to be there, and then it gets stolen again by the bad guy in this movie, and it's a genie lamp.
I thought it looked like a phallic symbol by
Me too.
By the way, I was like,
Every time it
just.
Somebody had fun in the design with that. That's just like, let's make these crystals look like a penis.
Grip it with all your might and say what you wish.
And then it's like, I wish to be you, and then it explodes all over him. It's like.
But speaking of Kristen Wiig, a couple of things about her. Now, I think a lot of people, or at least I heard going into it, a lot of people were concerned about her character. And I think that a couple of things. I think the way she looked in her before character was exactly like that guy in Iron Man, who was kind of the dorky guy. I think it was, is it the one with the Mandalorian? I don't remember which one. Because he was like this really dorky guy, and he kept trying, I guess, to talk to Iron Man, but he had the glasses. I mean, they literally looked like they could have been brother and sister.
Yeah.
I'll try to find a picture of it.
Like straight out of a comic book. I mean, just the nerdy character
just
out of a comic book.
But I'm gonna tell you what I liked about it. When she became the new character, they really didn't change that much about what she looked like. And I appreciated that, because I hate when they're like, oh, the brand new you have a total body shape, you have all this makeup on, you're a whole different person, like you as a person weren't good enough at the time. This should be about her gaining powers and gaining things like that, not about so much what she looks like. I think instead of focusing on how she looked in terms of makeup and stuff, we just made her seemingly a little more confident. And I like that versus making her look like she's on RuPaul's Next Drag Race, trying to make her look like a whole different person. So I like that, because I didn't feel like literally she took her skirt off and she was another person when she was changing over. So I like that. I also have to say, and I know people were worried about what the CG I was gonna look like and all that stuff. I thought it looked pretty good. I mean, for what you could see. I mean, I didn't feel like she looked any cheesier. And I mentioned this earlier. I don't think she looked any cheesier than Diana looks, running around in her outfit. So I didn't have a problem with that. I had a problem with a whole bunch of other stuff, but in terms of just Kristen's overall look and her character in general, I didn't really have too much problems with it. I know, Corey, you said something about how she normally acts, and I'll let you.
Yeah, well, I felt like the comedy didn't work for me. Okay, and so a lot of her shtick in the way that she was delivering her lines did not work. It didn't play off at all. She's supposed to be this dumpy, nerdy character, right? And she's fumbling over her words. She's like, oh, this dress. Oh, yeah, I've had it for a long time. No, I just bought it. But some of those lines and stuff, and the way that she was acting, and the comedy that was written for her was something that I've heard her do before in SNL, or something I heard from her before in Bridesmaid, but it didn't work in this movie. It almost felt like someone was doing an impersonation of Kristen Wiig's comedy. It was really, really weird. So I didn't like a lot of the writing of how her character was portrayed and her delivery of any of her comedy at all. Like a lot of the comedy, as a matter of fact, the comedy from Chris Pine, that didn't work. Yeah, the whole trash can thing we saw in the trailer, but his whole fish out of water scene of him in the escalator and all that stuff, I'm like, and the whole outfit change, I'm like, none of that worked. None of that comedy worked.
Yeah, it wasn't necessary either,
and it wasn't necessary.
So one of the things I want to talk about, let's talk about the actual story in itself. So here we have Diana. We see her as a little girl. She's not ready to wear the armor or whatever. She cheated, which is something that, a lesson I feel like she had to learn, something a little kid would have done. So I thought, like I said, I really like that part. So here she is older. They get the rock thing artifact. And her wish is about a boy. I'm like, come on. You could have wished for anything. Okay, but anyway, that's.
He's been gone for 60 years.
What did you say? What did you say, Brian?
And he's been gone for 60 years.
Oh, I didn't even realize it had been that long.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, don't you think she'd be over it a little bit? I mean, it's like it just happened yesterday.
Okay, see, and in my mind, it just happened like a couple of years ago because of the movie.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was
Right.
60 years.
Well,
Now that's
World War
in the Lord
One.
setting. Everything going on in the world, you wish for a boy that you haven't seen in 60 years.
Mhm.
You know, again, she probably, I'm assuming she was like, oh, this isn't real. So she just said whatever. But
Yeah.
like, as we start getting into things, I'm really like, so I don't understand completely, and I may have missed this. So the guy whose name I don't know, TV man,
TV man.
how does he know about this artifact and what he does?
I don't know. I
And
missed
then
that
his
too.
name,
missed it.
that slip of paper with his name in it. What was that? So like, I felt like so we had
Yeah.
people break into the store in the mall, so they're aware of it. I assume they work for this man. How he knew it was there, I have absolutely no idea. So they break it. How he even eventually, well, no, the FBI got it. So the FBI gets it, and then it gets to them. So again, how that man knows, not only does the FBI have it, but now where it's at, whatever. So he comes up. Oh, first, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be all over the place, y'all, and it's because the movie's all over the place. I can't help it. So when we meet him, he has this little boy who is supposed to be his son. Y'all, that little boy is not his child. I don't care what nobody says. Their relationship was awful.
Yes. The little boy was a horrible actor, first of all.
He didn't do that, but stand there, Daddy.
Yeah.
I did not feel their relationship.
I didn't either.
Like, and I also was like, when I first saw him, I was like, oh, he adopted a child. But then there was no, because I mean, I don't know. They didn't look anything alike. And I know you don't have to, but I'm just keeping it real with you. I didn't know who that little boy was. And then when he was like, Dad, I was like, oh, okay, he adopted a child. And we never meet the mother. There's no, I guess he just sees his child every other weekend. There's no, I could tell that he's been lying to his child about getting a pool and all this other stuff. But there's no real relationship between the two of them emotionally.
Mhm.
And so I found it very hard to believe. So, okay, so then he's like romancing Kristen Wiig just so he can steal something off her desk. And conveniently, we don't really know how it all went down and how he got out of the office and all that, because it was just the next day and Kristen Wiig is at her house in her bed. So what happened, I don't know, but movie convenience, he has it.
Right.
And then he knows for some reason, because he wants everything in the world. Why? He knows that instead of saying one wish, like, I want a box of Kleenex, because my nose is running, he says, I want to be the artifact. Now, I don't know about y'all, again, I'm like, how did he even know to say that? How would he even know that's a thing? Why would you want to be the artifact? I'm not really connecting why that made sense.
It's like somebody saying to the genie, I want to be the genie.
Right.
So that I can have your powers.
Right.
Because I want to be the most powerful thing in the universe.
And that's what Jafar did in Aladdin.
And use all everybody's wishes for myself.
That's what Jafar did.
Did you think this through? What this would mean? I don't know about y'all. I want my wish and go about my business. I don't want to be the genie and responsible for.
Well, I'm curious.
People that wishes and doing all this other crap.
I'm curious. Did he make a wish before he said he wanted to be the artifact? Like, did he make a? Yeah, he did. He wished that there were more employees or something like that in his office, right?
No.
Or his assistant did that.
His assistant did that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
he saw the wishes come true. He saw how it worked, and then that's when he wished that he could be the artifact, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And speaking of how it worked, initially it worked. What we thought and how it was portrayed was through some type of touch, some physical connection had to be there. And then as the movie progressed, you could be on the other side of the TV.
Well, because of the dumb particle thing.
But before he got in the particle thing, when he was just standing in front of the camera.
Right, exactly. He was able to get people to wish.
But that's where the broadcast was happening through. It's so convoluted. I mean, it was so bad.
The rules don't make sense.
The particles turning television signals into physical particles so that it could touch these people. So, I mean,
Rules don't make sense.
And what about all the people who weren't watching TV?
Yeah, they'd have to unwish everything, and it was such a stretch. The whole thing.
Yeah. What about people who were listening to the broadcast on the radio? Like, what happens there? But the rules don't make sense because going back to The Rock and the wishes. At first, I thought it was touch, like Dana said, right? And then it also looked like it was like he was saying, "Look into my eyes and say it out loud what you wish for." Do you know that Diana, when she wished for Chris to come back, she never said anything. She held the rock, and then Kristen is like, what would you even wish for? And she says, "I know what I'd wish for." And then that was it.
And the wind blew her hair.
The wind didn't even blow really her hair.
It did. The wind
blew.
blew.
What she was thinking.
She was thinking it, and then he just showed up like the next day, and I was like,
I think he just added those extra things so that he would know what was going on, and so we would hear the wishes, and it would be all drawn out in crayon for us to understand.
I guess.
So
can we talk about
we're on a big hunt to go find the guy who has stolen the rock, even though we don't know he is the rock. That would have been interesting if they had stolen the rock.
I wish I was the rock.
So he has the rock, and so they are going. First of all, somebody tell me where they were, because I thought
they were at the Smithsonian. They were at the Smithsonian.
It's in an airplane. Now, I've never been to the Smithsonian, so fill me in, but I thought it was like a museum. So I wouldn't think they'd have gassed up planes ready to go. Get in them and
well, there is a particular Air and Space Museum extension that's out on an airfield.
A real working airfield.
But you can't walk there from the mall, from like the Washington Monument. You can't walk there. You have to drive there.
Well, no, they took a cab there.
They did? Okay.
Yeah, the cab dropped them off.
Yeah, but there's an airfield at that one.
And her Smithsonian thing would have got her into it.
Oh no.
She's over
Well, I'm sure she had a pass.
Archaeology lab, and they're letting her out to the airfield.
I think they snuck. They snuck. And then they stole the dumb jet.
And buzzed herself in.
That's true.
Like. So that's why I was confused. I was like, oh, well, if she's buzzing herself in, she must be back where she works. And then they walk out into an airfield, and I'm like, oh, okay.
And his little propeller planes that he was flying in World War I definitely didn't have as many buttons as that damn jet that he got into.
60 years ago.
Well, Dana, here's so let's cut him some slack on the security, because it's 1984, and that badge, scanning a badge, probably shouldn't have worked anyway.
Y'all know y'all had keys.
Exactly.
Keys, turn keys, little metal turn keys.
Yep.
I don't know that they would have like even slide cards, like credit card slide reader thingies, maybe.
Yeah, and she didn't do that. She literally just held it up to the sky.
Yeah.
Good point. But true, 60 years later, there's, I hope, been a lot of technology changes. And like he couldn't even figure out, I think, was it the seatbelt or something basic? And I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and slide on up out of here. Because
you're gonna crash
no
up.
way.
Yeah.
No way.
I thought she was gonna fly it. I really did. I thought she was gonna fly it.
Yeah.
Because she's had 60 years to learn how to fly a plane.
Yeah.
It would have made as just much sense for her just to fly it.
Yeah.
So now we're in a plane, which to get away, we need to make invisible. So now, at this point, Diana has made a coffee cup disappear. And she's done it once, and she lost it.
She didn't know if it really worked or not, because she never saw it again.
She never saw it again, right? So true. Did it disappear? Did she destroy it? She has no idea what she did. But while this is going around, this noise, and he doesn't know what he's doing, I'm going to concentrate and put my hands on the front panel. We'll make this whole entire plane disappear. This is what I'm talking about. This is not how stuff just, you have to build up to that kind of stuff. I don't like it. It was a bunch of crap. Like we can tell which is, now here's another thing. She's done it once, so she knows that maybe she has this power. She's had 60 years to work on this.
Yes.
Why hasn't she been? I would have been done did that on everything.
And see, here's the thing. If I take this scene with a grain of salt, but I also look at it for two ways. One, it's a nostalgia thing and a reference to throw in there for fans of the cartoons, right? And of previous Wonder Woman lore, okay? So it's like, oh, this is fun. Let's throw in the invisible plane. But for people who have never seen Wonder Woman before, never saw the 70s TV show, never saw any of the cartoons, don't know anything about an invisible jet, and know that she knows how to do this, like, you need that build up there like Dana's talking about to see that she actually has this power to do that. Or that this thing even exists or something, you know?
Yeah.
You can't just...
And she could fly it.
do that for the fans.
And she flew her invisible jet.
Yes. Well, she learned how to fly after the invisible jet. Like, I don't think she knew how to fly before then. I don't think that she knew how to fly before.
Obviously, it just wasn't something she knew how to do automatically, like make the plane disappear.
Yeah, no.
So, okay,
maybe the beginning of the third movie, she'll make a wish that this second movie never happened.
Kind of like episode 10 of Lovecraft. Anyway, so we're flying off to wherever place. I don't even know where it was. It's an oil-rich place. Where?
Cairo.
Okay.
The pyramids.
So
big landmarks.
They're flying off there, and they land their plane wherever it's invisible. They can land it wherever they want to. All of a sudden now they're in the actual city, I guess, part. Now I have to point this out. When she's at the city using the payphone to make that phone call, I guess, back to New York or whatever in 1984, I had did y'all, first of all, I thought this is some BS. But then did y'all notice the backdrop? Because by then the wall had come down, had gone up. And did you notice that backdrop where the people were and they could only walk maybe 10 feet and it was kind of going up to the wall? I swear, y'all, that reminded me of Disney. So at Disney World, there's this place, and I don't know, Corey, if you know what I'm talking about. You know how you stand and it makes you look like there's a street way in front of you?
Oh, yeah.
It's just the wall going up. It looked fake is what I'm trying to say. So I was like, what is that?
It's a matte painting.
It was straight up a stage. It was horrible.
Yeah, it's a matte painting.
So she calls Kristen Wiig, and Kristen has found out some new information. That's great. And now Wonder Woman must fly back. So they go to wherever they park their invisible plane, and they get in it, and due to budget constraints and time, we don't see anything until it comes to land in a cornfield, but it's invisible, so we just see the corn move. And then they get back early in the morning. Like, there's just so much that makes no sense. How far is Cairo from New York? Wait. They got there in 10 minutes.
Okay, since we're talking about this, like, it seems like scene by scene, and Dana's playing out.
We skipped the crazy car chase.
You skipped the crazy car chase, the tanks and everything, and her saving the children. Now you made a comment about her being motherly, okay, and always wanting to save children, and that was like one of the most silly. Okay, I'm sorry, but I can hear a car coming down the street. Why can't I hear cars crashing with tanks and a tank coming plowing at me? Why would I keep playing a soccer game in the middle of the street?
They're deaf orphans, Corey. You have no heart. They're deaf orphans.
With parents who are paying them no attention. Parents paying them no attention whatsoever.
And there's no attention whatsoever. The parents not paying them any attention. Somebody has to see these tanks coming.
This could have been an amazing PSA. If those kids had gotten ran over, then you could have been like, keep the kids out straight.
And she did the whole Superman act too. She's in the car in her regular outfit. She opens up the door and rips off her shirt, and her suit is underneath. And I'm like, you're not Superman. Do not do that. Don't do that.
There is so much. So speaking of the kids, I have a problem with the children in here. Again, this is just the feminist part of me. Because she is a woman superhero, I have noticed there's a trend with her, and it was really evident in this movie, and I don't like it, where she She looks at children. She looks like she wishes she had a baby. That's how she looks at children. I think they go above and beyond to give her this motherly aspect that I don't feel like they give to Superman and Batman. Yes, we don't want children to get hurt. Yes, we will save them, but it's too much. Even the kids at the end, who I think I read were her real children, or at least they are at the end. I don't know if it was the same ones, but she's just looking at them so lovingly and like she's longing to have kids. And I don't know where that plays into this. Why are they doing that?
She did that in the first
Especially
movie.
What'd you say, Corey?
She did that in the first movie too. There was a scene where she saw a baby and she was just all ooh ah over the baby.
And I don't understand that. Like that's not something I remember from my childhood in terms of Wonder Woman. I don't know if that is done on purpose or what, but I don't, I want Wonder Woman to be this, I hate how we put women in those traditional women roles.
Yeah.
Like, just because she's a woman doesn't mean she has to be a nurturer and want to take care of everybody's baby.
Right.
I don't like that.
Right.
Well, they did this a similar thing at the restaurant scene when she was dining by herself, and the waiter asked if she was being joined by anyone, and she said no. And so he immediately took up all the dishes. And he's like, well, you won't be needing these then. Snatch. And it was just so...
And then the started playing like Saul sad and stuff, like, oh, this poor woman's single.
Eating alone. Oh, whatever.
Yeah. I don't... hardly any of this worked for me. The wishful penis crystals that they even were making jokes about it, like being made out of citrine, like how citrine, it's like such a common crystal, citrine.
Right.
It's like, what? and so here's the real thing. The real problem I had with this was that it was an artifact made by the god who may as well have been Loki, the trickster person, making this talisman thing that can grant you a wish, but at what cost? Mm-hmm. But that particular god didn't make an appearance. He did like the other one did in the first movie, and you're left with just this hokey car salesman guy who knew about the impact.
He's not a threat. He is not a threat to Wonder Woman.
He was not a threat at all.
As hell isn't either. So like how do you go from a god in the first movie to this being this just
there's nothing worthy. There was no villain worthy of her actually putting on that suit either at all.
The guy got the suit.
Yeah, the armor, the golden armor that she gets, basically was worthless. It was completely worthless. They built it up as if this was the all-power armor that can block everything. It's impenetrable, whatever. But then Cheetah comes there and just rips it to shreds. And it's like, well, what was the point of you actually going to get this armor in the first place? And then you don't have a villain who is strong enough, like that's that you actually need it for. Like, you drowned the cat. And
what was she trying to do, though? Seriously. What was the ultimate goal between those two ladies? Was Wonder Woman trying to beat her down so low to make her say, I take back my wish? Was Kristen Wiig trying to kill Wonder Woman so she could keep her wish? I mean, because she can't make you take it back. So, like, what are y'all fighting? I don't know why you're fighting.
Because she was even, Kristen Wiig's character was even saying that before she went full Cheetah, telling her to stop and to back off and leave them alone. Don't stop this. Don't stop what? What is it that she didn't want her to stop?
Well, she didn't want to have to rescind her powerfulness, right? And so Wonder Woman is saying that we got to get the guy to, I guess, everybody to take back their promise. I mean, their wish.
Yeah. Right.
But you cannot physically make her, how are you going to make her take back her wish? What was the plan?
Strangle her.
And let's go ahead and take it to the end. She never took her wish back, but stuff was all falling back into place. Like, So did she even need to take her wish back?
Which her?
Kristen
Diane?
Wiig.
Oh, Kristen. She died, didn't she?
No, she was
No.
alive, sitting on a moon.
Oh,
She was just sitting there on the side of the mountain, but
She
had
never
turned
took a
back
wish
still a
back.
cat.
her human. No, turned
Well,
back.
she looked like, yeah, so she looked like a person.
Yeah.
Okay, so apparently she gave her wish back, but that happened off camera too then.
Well,
Because
it
because
happened off
according
camera, did it? I mean, I think her wish is too big to have happened off camera. You would have had to do it.
I agree with you. It shouldn't have been off camera. It should have been more clear. But apparently the dude convinced everybody to take their wishes back, even people who might have turned the TV off or walked away and gone, "Oh, I'm this incredible super person now,"
Right.
or "I'm the
Kristen wasn't
king,"
at
or
the TV. She was fighting Wonder Woman. She wouldn't have seen that.
That's true.
it's so many problems. This is why there's so many problems with this movie.
I was waiting for Kristen Wiig's Cheetah character to die like 9 times. I thought she was gonna get like electrocuted and then come back and then get
And
electrocuted.
the electrocution thing. Because when she first flew out there, she was grabbing on the power lines, which were all
Yeah.
electrified.
That was the Cirque du Soleil moment when
Oh,
they
no,
were
when
swinging
they
around
did that
on the
twirl was
lap.
so horrible.
I
Yeah.
was like, look, they're doing the Cirque du Soleil thing. That's what I said to Dana as the movie was going on. Because they were spinning around like they were.
That's exactly right. I was thinking it.
Awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you notice, so, okay, when the guy manages to get everybody to start taking back their wishes, bombs that had exploded sucked back in and doing all this other stuff. Great.
Yeah.
But then all the mayhem and stuff, like when he's out on the lawn, it's still destroyed. So that I didn't understand. Does it not all go back to what it was? Or is it? Because
That's why it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any
the
sense.
destruction of other things.
Well, and a missile that's in air doesn't just doesn't start going backwards or disappear. It's all weird. It's all real magical silliness, and it's a comic book, of course, but it must be realistic. But but you're right. I mean, why would there still be such a mess everywhere?
Yeah.
And I don't know. And look, I promise y'all, I suspended reality when I went in here to see the movie. I was looking to have, a fun movie. But I was so confused. The whole political aspect of it, I was kind of disappointed in. Because it was all over the place. And I felt like probably this is not even the year we want to be involved in dealing with this. I just was like, find something else, It was just, and I was, and this is probably true. So I guess this is, probably more realistic than not. But when you ask the president if you could have anything in the world, what would your wish be? And you could have the opportunity to say anything from world peace. I mean, come on, even Miss America knows to say that.
Yeah.
But the president wants more missiles.
Or missiles.
That is the one thing you want more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, and maybe the president would have said that. But I would love to believe that would be the first. Haven't we all learned that when the genie comes out and gives you those 3 wishes, we all know the story of how to be very careful with those 3 wishes, as they may come back to haunt you.
Right.
So, I don't know why we don't do a little bit more thinking before, maybe they were scared they were going to run out of time. I don't know. I don't know what the guy's end game was going to be. He just wanted power over everything.
He wanted the oil. He wanted he wanted to own all the oil, and he got it.
He did own the oil. So once he got the oil, he wanted other stuff that made no sense.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted people's health. He wanted people's this. He wanted blah, blah, blah. And you know what it kind of reminded me of? Y'all know that movie that we watched? What is it? It was with the woman who was leading the ghost people, and they were breathing into the little containers.
Oh.
Lives.
Sleeper? Dr. Sleep?
Dr. Sleep.
Yeah.
Remember how I was talking about I really didn't know what their end game was? That group was just go around killing people just to live for what? you know? That's kind of how I felt about this. Like, it just didn't have a reason.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's not even enough to have a little reason. You got to have one that resonates with the viewers, and nothing resonated with me here. Like, I could have cared less about anybody in this movie. You know, it just, and I really wanted to leave. I told Corey I want to apologize to everybody that we had invited and say that I was sorry that we had subjected them to coming out during these weird times to watch this movie. You know, of course we did it for the experience, and the experience was still fun, and it was great to see everybody. But overall, this movie, I would love, you know, and I think after, and I haven't done anything, so I haven't like read people's reviews and stuff yet, so I'll probably do that, because I'm really looking to find the meaning in this, because I saw online that they said Wonder Woman 3 is being fast-tracked. And the only saving grace for me at this point with this movie is if they really do bring Linda Carter back at the end. I love seeing her. She looks gorgeous. She will always be my Wonder Woman, and she can be, you know, I would love to see her, you know, in a real good role, I guess, if they do bring back 3. I just don't know. I'm scared of them fast tracking it, because this wasn't fast tracked. They've been working on this movie for years, and this is what we get. If you fast track, what is that going to look like?
Good point.
You know, I want Wonder Woman to do well. I do. You know, I want all of the superhero, especially female characters, to be able to have their own movies and they be really good. And I know DC has suffered just some bad movies, period. So it's not like it's, you know, just her. But I would love to see her be able to come and stand out, because that's the only way we're going to get more of this, right? Mm-hmm. But I mean, honestly, they're saying it was a success.
It's a disappointment. It's not.
Well, I mean, there was really nothing else to watch. Of course, I mean, you know, and everybody has HBO Max, could have watched it. So a success in what, right?
Yeah, compared to what? But,
yeah.
You know, I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed in this, because I had such high hopes for it because of the first Wonder Woman film, and she's been the star of every single DC movie that her character's been in. She steals scenes. She's just so good, and I'm disappointed, but I guess I'm not surprised, because DC's doesn't have a great history with these movies anymore. This era of the DC movie is just not there.
What do you think they're missing? Because I don't feel that way about Marvel at all.
I don't feel that way about Marvel. I don't feel that way about the first couple of Batman franchises. I don't feel that way about Gotham on TV. I thought Gotham was a great series for Batman.
Supergirl, Flash, all of those.
Yeah,
are really good.
Yeah.
So I think, for me, I think what it is they're missing is really good film writers. Like, I think that they just are given this budget to do these big budget films, but then the writing is just not there. You know, really, that's what it boils down to me, is the writing sucks in a lot of these movies. And so the execution is not there. I mean, this movie fell into the same traps of Aquaman, and Suicide Squad. Like, the only movies that I think DC has done really well was Shazam, Man of Steel, and I don't know. Those are really the big ones that I really, really enjoyed.
Does Joker even count?
I mean, Joker was excellent, but
yeah, Joker. I mean, it's in the DC.
Yeah.
Film. Oh, and all the Dark Knight stuff. You know, whatever. All
those.
But you know what? Talking about that, the things that I like, and this is a problem I have with Superman, as Corey knows. The ones that I like are ones that have gone a little bit darker. Yeah. And maybe that's why I've liked them, because I'm not a child. So like when we were little and seeing Wonder Woman and stuff, maybe all this was cute and fun, you know, but now that we've gotten older, my expectation is a little more realistic. You know, you don't go, oh, don't hurt the man who's holding a gun at your head. It's not his fault. No, you shoot him.
Right.
You know? So I wonder if maybe for me, at least, that's part of what it is, because I have enjoyed the DC movies when they have taken a darker turn, because it feels more grown up and more real to, you know.
Well, the first Wonder Woman did feel more real, and it did feel more adult. You know, but you can still have that camp, childlike film like they did with Shazam, and it play really well to children and it played really well to adults. That one was an example of where you could take a product that is kind of geared towards more children and can be more campy and fun and do it the right way. It was written really, really, really well. They just couldn't do that with this movie. They just couldn't do that. They should have stuck with the more adult-themed, darker-ish tone of Wonder Woman from the first one. But the problem is you throw it into a time period of the 1980s, and what do we think about the 1980s? Just fun, colorful,
cocaine.
Yeah. This is a movie.
I was a child. I'm joking.
Music videos and and Hooters. You know, I mean it just would be horrible. That's not where Wonder Woman should be.
No, but I mean, and if you were going to do that, this movie probably would have played maybe a little bit better in the 1980s than it does now in 2020. It might have been a little bit better because back then we were just kind of like, oh, it's comic book. There wasn't a big comic book movies back then.
Look at the Superman movies then. Yeah. I mean, now, they were super comic booky.
Right, exactly. You could get away with it and it was fine. You know, it was because there wasn't this long history right now of some really great comic book films that are more adult, more serious, more realistic, you know? So this movie was just like really, really disappointing to me just from a writing aspect of it. I didn't hate Gal Gadot in this film. I mean, I still liked her as Wonder Woman. I didn't hate Kristen Wiig. I thought she was fine. And Pedro Pascal was fine, I guess. But it's just everything in between. It's all the writing. It's all of that just did not work.
I didn't hold this against Gal Gadot. I didn't hold this against Kristen Wiig. Pedro, no. I didn't buy it. No, it's his fault. He didn't bring it. He didn't. No. But I was so mad at the movie. I was so mad at the movie. I wasn't mad at the characters, but I was
mad at the movie.
Yeah. Like, I think that people did their parts with what they had. I just think what they had was not good.
Yeah. And Patty Jenkins is writing and directing the third one. And she wrote and directed this one. I think she should stick to just the directing and get a really good writer. Like, that'll be fine.
Did she write the first movie?
No, she did not. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, maybe she should just direct. But anyway. And it's too long. It was 2.5 hours long.
So, Dana, you were saying there were too many things in this movie. You're right. There were too many storylines. That's what made it. That's one of the things that made it so long. Yeah. There's just too many things going on.
You cut out the Chris Pine aspect of this movie, you probably could have chopped down a whole hour, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, possibly.
Anyway,
I would have cut out the Chris Pine. I would have cut out TV Guy's relationship with his child because I wasn't feeling it. I didn't believe in it. That whole scene in the desert was really a waste of time and money. You know, like there's so many little things that I could have just, and I was literally sitting there going, oh, I'm gonna cut this out. Oh, I'll probably cut that out.
And there's even pieces that you could have just shrunk. I mean, you could have let part of it there. Like you could have Kristen Wiig go and open the refrigerator. We see that she's really strong.
Perfect
example.
Cut
out the part of her going to the gym and lifting weights. Like we get it. We know
she already knew she was strong.
Yeah.
She needs to go to the gym to
show off. Yeah.
Here's the funny thing, and I could be wrong, but no part of her character suggested to me that she was a gym rat. So I believe she was going to the gym before this, and then all of a sudden she's like, let me go to the gym and wear a typical 1980s string floss leotard.
And then
I didn't even seem like her character.
Well, right. Well, that's the thing. That's what you were saying before. It's like she didn't magically become this other person with these other clothes, but she kind of did. You know, in some of those scenes.
You're right. So for that scene, I think she did. I was thinking like the immediate scene, like when they had her go put on the black dress and the heels. It was just a black dress, Brian, and some shoes.
Right. Right.
It wasn't like she did not get an entire makeover. But yes,
Yeah.
that scene with her going to the gym didn't seem like her at all. Like
Yeah.
it didn't make any sense.
And she's still and I think it still right about the not going overboard with the makeup and the hair, because her hair did still kind of look kind of messy.
Yeah.
But anyway, do we want to go to final scores?
Oh sure. My final
Are we
score
ready?
is a 1. Yeah.
I gave it a 2.
A 2. So our scores are roughly 5 stars, where 5 is, I'd buy it. I liked it so much. 4 is I'd see it again. 3 is I'm glad I saw it. And so 2 is generally in the scale of you could do worse, and then 1 is worse. So Dana, this is worse.
Worse.
Corey's like, oh, you could have done worse.
Not horrible.
My score is a 2.5, because I think that you could totally have done worse. We've seen worse DC superhero movies, and I'm glad I saw it, and I'm glad I saw it in the theater with you guys, because that was a super amazing experience. But for our recommendation, I would say if you're subscribing to HBO Max, or you want to do your free month intro or whatever, it's worthwhile doing it while it's there, because I guess it'll be there forever.
HBO, and we've talked about this in some of our other reviews, they've got a lot of good content right now.
Yeah,
So I think
great
HBO is worth it regardless.
Exactly.
So watch Lovecraft Country and give Wonder Woman a try.
So
And what's the other one? I can't think of the Watchmen.
Watchmen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
subscribe to HBO for $15 to watch Wonder Woman 84, but then stay and check out all their other content that they have if you're disappointed with the movie.
And don't forget to watch the original, the first Wonder Woman.
Yeah, that's on
HBO Max. Yeah.
And the 1970s Linda Carter series is all on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Watch all that. Get a full fill of Wonder Woman, and all the DC films are there, and the cartoons and all that stuff. So just watch all
And please, I'm going to ask for me personally, if you have seen this movie, put down in the comments what you thought about it. Maybe I'm being too harsh. I don't know. But, and considering everything that was going on, this is like my first time going to the theater in almost a year. So I had some expectations. I wanted to see the movie, and it just felt like a complete letdown. But maybe I'm being too harsh. So put down below stuff maybe I missed, or if I should reconsider things. I'd really want to know.
I agree, because there were people in our group who really liked it. So
liked it, yes.
I'd like to know why a lot of people like this movie. So please put that down there. Please do.
I liked the jar of jelly beans in the president's office. They put a jar of jelly beans in there.
Okay.
I didn't even know.
Dana, don't go on a tangent when I say this, okay?
Okay.
But we said we liked the intro scene of the gladiator type scene in the beginning because it reminded us of the first movie. I really like the look and the feel and how she used the lasso in the movie. I enjoyed all the times, most of the time when she used the lasso in this movie, when she was spinning around. I like the way it looked. I like the way the lasso looked.
I think it was too much lasso.
Too much lasso.
Everything was lasso. Lasso this, lasso that. I was like, to me, again, I am not as diehard of a Wonder Woman comic, follow all the rules kind of thing. So feel free to disagree. But I'm thinking more of Wonder Woman herself as being strong and doing all. The lasso is supposed to be, to me, an aid. But she was using that lasso so much. I mean, it was like and everything. And I kind of felt like it was overdone. It was too much lasso for me. At the mall, at the end, in the middle. Really every fight she had, that lasso was the star. When I thought it should have been her.
I just like the way it looked. That's all. I'm not saying I disagree with you. I just like the way it looked.
They could have dialed it back a little bit. It was a lot like the Catwoman's whip or Indiana Jones whip. It's like that's all they had. Yeah. And she has so much more than that.
Right.
She's got so much more. I agree with you.
Now, I will give her credit because I loved how she used her headband, her boomerang. Mm-hmm. That was a nice thing different than the whip, but I mean the lasso, excuse me. I got tired of it. I was just like,
We forgot to talk
Not
about
a
something.
cowgirl. Can you do something else? Like, I thought she was like strong. I want to see her, hit people and kick people and do all that. There was this one kick she did and they slowed it down and I thought it was amazing. Like when she's leaned back and her foot is out, like cross up, beautiful. It was gorgeous.
That was a nice kick.
We forgot to talk about something.
What?
That she can fly.
Oh, she could fly without plane. All right, well, that's great. Thanks for joining us.
That's all we have to say about that.
So I'm happy that she could fly because I knew that she could fly and I wanted her to fly in the first movie. So that was probably the superpower that she should have gained in this movie, not all the other ones. Just add that one to it, and then we can add the rest later in the third movie. So I'm happy that she flew. My only problem with the flying scene was, I swear they took it exactly from the 1978 Superman flying scene, or from the Man of Steel flying scene of how he learned how to fly. Probably the Man of Steel version more than the 1978 Superman flying scene. I mean, it was the way she was looking when she was flying. It was the voiceover that was going over while she was flying. I was like, they totally ripped this off, and it was so disappointing to me. Like, come up with something a little bit more original than that. Only part that I did like was how she used the lasso to like pull herself.
Here we go again.
From the cloud. But I was like, okay, does she know how to fly? Or does she know how to just like glide? Because she's pulling herself and then she's gliding. Like, what is it? So, but I don't know. I like that she flies, but I just didn't like how they executed that scene.
Yeah.
It was just like a ripoff to me. For me personally.
Okay. So those were our scores.
Yep.
Tell us down below in the comments what y'all thought.
Yep.
And what's your score? How do you guys score? So, anyway.
Thanks for watching the L-5 podcast. And we will see you guys next time.
Where's Jeremy?
Jeremy.
Jeremy.